welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. It's July 16th, 2014, and here are our top stories.
Tonight, it's champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Does Obama plan to give $1,000 a night rooms to illegal aliens for free?
It's lifestyles of the rich and famous.
And the feds have made trolling both an art and a science. All that and more on tonight's InfoWars Nightly News.
And welcome back. In an update to a story that we brought you earlier today, the Palm Air Resort in South Texas has had their bid withdrawn to be purchased by the Baptist Child and Family Services. So what was going on was this group had contracted to get the resort and turn it into basically a housing facility for juvenile illegal immigrants. And as you can see on Infowars.com, it's a very, very nice resort. Plenty of racquetball courts and all those things going on. But they said, hey, I don't know if it was the publicity that they received or what exactly was going on, but they said we no longer want to house the people here at these facilities. So with that in mind, let's go back to the original report by one Paul Joseph Watson. Luxury resort for illegals has $1,000 plus rooms for rent. And as I said, this is definitely a place where you would want to be if you were going on a vacation. And when I see things like this, it's very disheartening to me, not because these people are staying in a nice accommodation. Well, I guess that's a piece of it. Our tax dollars going to house people like this. But, it makes me think even beyond that, because we're spending tax dollars on facilities like this. Meanwhile, our veterans are still waiting to get care at the VA facilities. I mean, when you see these buses coming in, whether they're going through Texas, going through California, how many homeless people do these buses pass, bringing in these illegal immigrants to, whether it's the church facilities, the DHS facilities, or whatever else? How many people are not being serviced here in our own country, our own possibly taxpayers who are not getting the services that they desperately need and deserve, for that matter. And, let me be very clear. When I see things like this, whether it's church groups picking people up or, individuals housing people at their homes, it's one thing to say, hey, you're here in this country, you have a court date, an immigration hearing. You can stay with me until your immigration hearing. You may be sent back, you may not, be more than likely probably will. But regardless, you can stay on my couch until that date comes, and we'll do the best to provide for you. That's fine. That's respectable. That's a good, humane thing to do. My issue is when they bring these people in and then you have the Border Patrol give people travel vouchers to get as far away from their court date as possible. So they get apprehended in Texas, then they give them a bus ticket to go to Maine. They get apprehended in California, they give them a bus ticket to go to Washington State. Do you really expect these people to come all the way back down to the southern states just to get deported? Of course not. So that's where my issue lies. If you want to, give these people a bottle of water or whatever, for their journey, that's fine, but make sure they also go to their court date. And so they're saying it's all lovey-dovey, it's for the kids, it's all this, it's all that. And they're continuing this in the next article by Kit Daniels. Foster agency seeks caseworkers, families for illegal alien refugees. And multiple job openings posted on socialservices.com. Crichton Services for Children and Families wants Spanish-speaking social workers. Families willing to take in illegal immigrant youth can be reimbursed up to $6,000 monthly. And it's interesting to note that Crichton has served as a subcontractor for the health department for the past several years. But back then, the minors were referred to by the federal government as unaccompanied alien children. But this year, however, the children are referred to as refugees, even though the violence in Central America, where many illegals are from, has been going on for the past 10 years. And the thing, when they say the reasons why people are coming here, they're fleeing violence. Okay, well, what about the July 4th weekend, where in the city of Chicago alone, they had about 80 people get shot? We have violence here in this country. Or they say they come for the health care, record number of people being kicked off their insurance plans in California, record numbers in Florida, many other states as well, I'm sure. We have that problem here. They say they come for the education. We have dropping test scores. We're teaching kids 2 + 2 = 5. We have education problems right here. So all the things these people are supposedly fleeing from, and I can understand, we have those same problems here. So, are we going to call people refugees if they want to move from Chicago to Tulsa, Oklahoma? I mean, is that considered a refugee if they're trying to move away from that violence? Of course not. But that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to sell you on this idea that it's humanitarian, it's for the kids. Meanwhile, we're shortchanging our kids here in the States. And I'm not saying this country is full. I'm just saying we have to do this the legal and lawful way. Because the young lady I had a chance to speak to out in California, who came here legally from Singapore, she said it's cost her several years, several $1,000s to get here to the States, but she did so legally. We need to have that standard for everybody else as well. And people who are pushing the standard of what's acceptable, the Department of Homeland Security. Armed Homeland Security agents and community outreach to let people know they are in the area.
Several Homeland Security cars were stationed outside of the bankruptcy court and courthouse in Greenville, but not because there was a danger. Homeland Security officers tell 90 Your Side they were there as part of their community outreach to let people know that they are in the area. They also were there to remind people that if they see something, say something, especially when they see anything suspicious happening outside of a federal building.
And I do have to say, this DHS See Something, Say Something campaign is quite the joke because, as you may recall, right here in this spot, probably about 2 or 3 months ago now, I called DHS. I said, hey, man, I got reports of people shooting targets of little children. I got reports of people stockpiling ammunition. Would you like to know who this person is? He said, yes, sir, please tell me. I say, it's the Department of Homeland Security. Thank you for calling, sir. I say, sir, I mean, aren't you concerned about this? These people are training, in my mind, to kill children if you're shooting a target of a child. It's one thing to shoot the crazy clown or the alien or something like that. But when you see little Timmy out there with his 22 and you're training to shoot that, that's very unsettling to me. But, that's the Department of Homeland Security. And now they just want to meet and greet and shake your hand and let you know that everything's okay, or that's what they're apparently trying to convince you of. I wonder how many people they told about the no hesitation targets, or about the, I guess, over 2 billion bullets now that they're stockpiling that they can't use against a foreign enemy because of the Geneva Convention. I just wonder if that happened to come up in the conversation. And let's talk about this conversation. Poll: majority reject Obama policies because they're bad, not because of racism. According to a new Rasmussen poll, a sizable majority of Americans do not believe that opposition to Obama's key policies stems from racism, as both the president and Attorney General Eric Holder have repeatedly suggested. The survey found that 61% of likely U.S. voters think people who oppose the president's policies do so primarily because they believe the policies are just plain bad, not because they are racist. And I do agree. And it's not just as far as criticizing the policies, just any criticism, because you guys remember, people, I guess, older and my age or even older, maybe not so much the younger generation, but you'd turn on the late night talk shows, you'd watch Jay Leno or David Letterman, and they'd make fun of Bush, they'd make fun of Clinton, they make fun of whoever. But when Obama stepped in, it's like, oh, you can't make fun of Obama. I'm like, why can't you make fun of Obama? And I guess the subtext is because he's black. And, that really has nothing to do with it. He's a president, and he's still open to public criticism, especially jokes that are not harmful or, daggering at anybody. It's just, they make fun of Clinton for, the Monica Lewinsky thing. They make fun of Bush for being stupid, all kinds of things. And they're not the only ones. But, when it comes up to a black person, then they say it's racist. It's not racist. It's just the late night guys. That's what they do. They've been doing it, since, Johnny Carson, and even earlier than that, as far as TV has been around.
The globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding, making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
The brainwashing media machine has been turned up on high, and it's time for humanity to double down on the true people's media and strike back against the tyrants that are destroying our civilization with their lies and fraud. We are the resistance. You are the resistance. You are the info war. It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
Join us at InfoWarsNews.com and present PrisonPlanet.tv. Members can share their memberships with up to 11 people. By subscribing, you will literally be buying war bonds in the info war to expand our operation in the face of the tyrants. Join us at PrisonPlanet.tv.